Sure.
What's good, everyone?
Okay.
It's your boy, Sifu Jen, the Esoteric Warrior. Hope everyone's doing good tonight. This is part 2 with Sifu Jen Sam on the Tao of Kung Fu podcast. Everyone's loving these podcasts. Thank you all so much for the awesome comments with John Lee as well as Sifu Sam. And tonight, Sifu Jen Sam is going to be talking about meditation. He's been doing meditation since he was very young, starting with Theravada Buddhism. He was a monk back in the day. And we're going to talk about how he started, what he did, and what the practice is. And we're just going to bounce off each other. How you doing, brother? Good to see you back.
Hey, brother. How are you, my friend?
Good.
Yes,
So
it's been
what
very
is
good.
what is the practice of meditation in Buddhism of your sect that you belong to?
Sure. Well, as you know, since I was very young, I went into the monastery, and I was a very wild and crazy fighter, and a very wild and crazy man when I was young in my teens, and I was like a gangster. And I spent a lot of time in gangs and fighting on the street, and I really felt that when I asked Leung Cheung, I really need to master how to use my mind. Otherwise, I'm going to be too dangerous. You learn this martial arts, and if you hit someone and if you do like a phoenix fist, like we do, pressure point striking, you're going to kill someone. So I really
definitely
thought,
go to jail.
yeah, for sure. So I really thought that, um, what am I going to do? So I asked Leung Cheung, can you help me? And he said, no, I don't know anything about, the meditation and anything about how to control the mind, how to focus it. And, I've got a great gift, which, Leung Cheung always used to like telling me that my gift was photographic memory. Whenever he did a form, whenever he showed me the technique, whenever I learned the pressure points, that's what makes me a good acupuncturist. That's what makes me a good healer. That's what makes me a good martial artist, because see, when it comes to movement, forms, pressure points, man, I've got photographic memory. So that's why I've got all the forms, I've got all the techniques. So I knew the meditation was very important, but I just didn't know how to do it. So at the age of 19, after traveling around the world, I decided to go into the monastery and become a monk. I actually closed the whole school down, and Leung Cheung was so upset. He thought, oh my God, we've just lost Sifu Jen Sam. And I thought he was going to keep on running the school and do everything. No. I was too young. I couldn't see myself being a teacher at the age of 19, even though he did that at the age of 19. Remember, he showed us the photo of him with the punch,
Yeah.
and he was so young, and and he said to me, and I never forget what he said to me. He said to me, Sam, you don't wait to become a master. You have to start when you're young, because to be a good teacher, you must teach when you're young, not when you're 70 years old. And oh, now I'm a master. And I said, no, look, I'm not confident. I'm not confident to teach. I'm not confident to, let's just say, I'm not confident to be running a Yao Kung Fu school where I have to represent Yao Kung Fu, and I don't have that skill where I feel confident that if anyone challenges me, I'm going to be, I'm going to look embarrassed, right?
Well, not only
So,
that, but you need experience in teaching, and
yeah,
that comes with age. You can't be, look, how many black
yeah.
belts kids are out there, and they're
And they
teaching
all think they can
karate,
teach.
taekwondo. Like,
Yeah,
you haven't got the
correct.
experience. Sure, you might be good and flexible, but you haven't got that world experience. And it's true, Learn Churn never taught meditation ever. It was only
Nothing.
you when you had your school, and
Yep.
we used to do it at the end of every class.
Remember?
Yeah,
Yep. We used to do it at the end of every class. We used to have a good talk. And I used to try to explain to everyone, because see, when I got out of the monastery after 3 years of being a monk, living in the forest and living under the Theravada Buddhism, which is the forest Buddhist monk, the original teachings of the Buddha in the forest, in caves. And I couldn't believe that that's where I had my first awakening. And I call it my Kundalini rising.
Right.
Okay. I completely united with the divine. I completely united with everything. I became one with everything. And that was at the age of 19.
Mm.
So I was already on the path to enlightenment and awakening. I was just understanding myself. And
How,
so,
here's a question,
yeah,
because for what I know of Kundalini, you've got to cultivate the chi or the prana first. So
correct.
how long would have it taken with meditation for you to get that opening and awakening of yourself?
Six, 6 months in a monastery before I could sit still. I couldn't sit still for 5 minutes. And the biggest issue was pain, sitting still, and I couldn't stop the thoughts. Yeah, they know now, and it's very well documented by many famous people, that we have anywhere from 50 to 70,000 thoughts every day.
Mm.
And if you have that many thoughts, how the hell do I control it? So my teacher
Not to
gave me an
mention, not to
exercise.
mention all the voices in your head.
Oh,
Shut up.
listen, you gotta realize that these voices or these things that you think are talking to you in your head is actually just your ego self.
Mm.
That's all it is. It's an ego. I never forget Bruce Lee saying that, martial arts and having fights and everything is just about beating up your ego, kicking and beating up your ego. That's all you're doing. And you've got to understand to understand, let's just say what meditation is about and why it's so important is because I wouldn't have the memory to be able to know all the forms and to learn everything, even from, like Cornelius, One Young. And man, that's what Corny said to me. And that's what a lot of masters have said to me, including Adakian. You have a great gift. You can remember all the forms. You don't forget them. And I've got them, of course, like you have them. We've got them all recorded and all saved. And I watched myself when I was young in Canberra, when I
Wow.
just started teaching in my early 20s. I'm going to start releasing all these out.
You know what? We
Every,
remember when we went to we drove down to Canberra and we're training
yep,
with Sifu James, Sifu's son,
yep,
in
yep,
the garage underneath the restaurant,
yep.
learning the pitch
That's right.
forward, and
That's right.
then on the way back would stop on that lake,
Yep.
and
And that's the lake where
I filmed you a few
the
times. I think Stolly did, um,
Stolly, yep.
and Stolly,
Well, I've got all those videos, and I'm going to release form by form. They're very blurry now because it's so old. I mean, you're talking about 35, 40 years old. And I want to release them out because what's the use of them staying on my hard drive?
well, there's
What's the use of
a
it?
lot of people are asking about learning the Yolkumen, so
Yeah,
you might be able to release some of them for people to learn.
I've got new ones. I've got really up to date new ones. And of course, if you see me doing now my the Morkyu,
Yeah.
and if you see me doing now all my Yao Kung one, it is 10 times faster and 10 times better. It's funny when you're in your 60s, you would think, well, whoa, what the hell's going on here? He's getting younger, he's getting stronger. Man, every movement is so integrated, every technique. I'm learning all the pressure points, the grappling, the techniques. It's just, it's endless. That's why I decided it's time now that it's useless to hold on to it. Why? I realize even if you get it, unless you're a Yao Kung practitioner, you won't be able to understand the movements or the techniques.
Mm.
It doesn't matter who you are. I now know that when you do the Morkyu, How are you going to show that if you don't have some sort of a training regime to show that? And then how is it used? What's the technique? So yes, of course, we are going to release videos and tutorials and teaching. And of course, we are going to work out to try to keep Yakumun alive and try to keep the techniques and traditions alive. But I actually agree with you on many, many things that you talked about with some of the other masters, like John Lee.
Yep, John.
And that was that the old tradition must change. It must, because the old traditions are still running on a very outdated system of techniques. And as you know, in Yao Kumun, every night after we finish our own training, we finish our bag work, we finish our rings, we finish, whatever, we always sparred. And we sparred full on. We hurt ourselves, and thank goodness our teacher was good at Tita. Otherwise, we'd all have broken bones and we'll have broken everything. So I said to myself, I will keep the traditions, but I will definitely not want to do any teaching if I can't put a real fighting technique in there, because fighting is ugly. It's not good looking.
No.
None of this bullshit you see in movies and all this techniques and crap, it's all bullshit. And every true master, every true teacher will tell you that. That's why, yeah, you guys were right when you were speaking, and I was listening to you, and I love these talks, because these are real masters. These are real teachers.
That's what
You
it's
talk to
about,
some of
right?
them.
If you cannot sit down
Yeah,
and have a chat and be fucking real, right?
yeah,
And to go,
yeah,
what, we know what's bullshit. We've been
yeah.
around the block so many times, right?
Right.
A lot of
We
techniques that are
laugh. We just laugh when we see it, right?
exactly right, but there's so many techniques that are in forms that
Yeah, it doesn't work.
it won't. I call them
Yeah,
fillers, right? It
yeah,
just helps to continue the power generation,
yeah.
but it's not. It's never going to be used unless I don't know, unless you got some type of fucking drunken
Well,
spastic, then it might work.
yeah.
You know, but a lot of forms, and that's going with every
It's
style,
every form,
every style.
every school, every style. And this is why, getting back on track anyway, into the martial arts and meditation, is that I found when I was in a monastery and I was learning the meditation, I found this unbelievable healing ability that once you start going deep within yourself, you start to know who you are. And you start to realize one of the most important things that you need to understand: who you are and why you are the way you are. I've always respected you, and I've respected all different masters, because we are all individually created, and we create what we want out of life through the references that we learn from our parents, our friends, our school, our teachers. And then what we do is, depending, it all depends on your thoughts. So meditation is so crucial, or else what happens if you don't meditate? This is what happens. First of all, you start to become imbalanced. You start to lose this balance of what I call mental peace, relaxation. That's why I find that when all teachers go into their 50s, they stop doing the hard stuff. They stop doing the fighting, because it's just going to make you mental. You're going to go crazy.
Well, there's a Chinese saying, I forget the Chinese for it,
Yeah.
but when you have too much yang, you bring in the demon.
Yes.
And that's through all the
It's
hard
also,
training, all
yep,
all the mental combat side needs to be balanced
yep.
with the
It's called,
meditation.
it's called very simple: negative thought. Negative thought is the dark side. I love I lived and I died with the Star Wars series when I was a young boy. And I loved it that they're both equal forces, dark and light. But the more you have fear, the more I love Yoda, the more you have fear, the more you have that hate, it will consume you and it destroys you. But the more you have light, the more you have peace, compassion, love, it actually engulfs everyone and it's more powerful because the frequency is so strong. And the darkness of negative thoughts, like you said, fighting, kill, destroy, like fuck me, right? We used to laugh about it, but it's
Fuck
actually
me.
not, yeah, it is not good for you because that's why you need to meditate. And that's why I used to meditate on loving kindness because I had this anger. Because remember, not many people know it, but you'll read it in my life story. And oh, by the way, don't forget to remind me. I'm going to send you,
Oh,
and I'm going to
actually,
send you my book.
everyone,
Yeah.
for the people that have asked me about Sifu Jen Sam's books, I'll let him explain what and how and whatnot because he's got some deal and all that. But I think you said your personal book is
Yeah,
that
my life story, and it's only part one. It's my first 50 years. I've made this book, it's for free, and I'm giving it out for free. So I'm going to send you a PDF version of it. You're going to see it. And it's just full of photos. You'll see yourself in there. You'll see Leung Cheng. You'll see our parties. You will
yeah.
see everything. So people will know that everything we're talking about is real. They will see it all.
Oh,
And
we
what's
don't
really good,
we don't sugarcoat anything. We're not fucking Willy Wonka.
mate.
And we've been around the block. I don't have to lie to people about our experience, that's for sure. That is
Oh yeah.
in for sure. We have done what we've
Oh
said
yeah.
and we do
Yep.
exactly everything what we've been
Yep.
talking about,
So I'll send you the PDF so that you can hand it out to all the people you want. Now, with the books of Yao Kumun and with the books of what I'm going to be releasing, and there is a lot of stuff I'm going to be releasing because I remember I was telling you our first book that we made, it wasn't ready because we weren't only young and we weren't that experienced, but it wasn't ready to be released to the general public because I didn't feel that I was ready.
And not only that, I think we can do a little bit better.
Oh
We've
yeah.
added a little bit more to it because that was our first project
That was
together.
our first experiment.
Yeah, it's
Exactly.
still a good book, don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
I think we can fill it to about 700 pages easy.
correct. Look, I've got so many books that I'm going to be releasing by probably the end of this year. And I've got so many things that I want to share with people. Especially, yeah, that one.
All right, guys, this is our book that we did, both Sifu Jen Sam and I, and we actually went to China. We got the blessings of the late Grandmaster, and there
Yep,
was a whole video to go with it.
yep. It's really cool.
And
It's really
unfortunately, no one's got it yet. but but it was the best trip, bro.
Oh yeah.
How about our
Oh
trip
yeah. We
and
can't do those again.
the experience, like
Yep. You
getting
can't
in trouble
top the
over there
experience.
and getting arrested with all the weapons at the. Remember,
Yep. Airport.
we got handcuffed and taken away at the fucking airport because we had knuckle
Yep. They thought
dusters
that we were going to start a war.
with the triad in Hong Kong, right? They said,
Yep.
"We've only got all these weapons. We had knuckle dusters from Shaolin Temple, tasers, all these." And they arrested us when we got to the airport. Remember that? They had the
Yep.
guns
Yep.
out on us. We were on the ground. And it's like, fucking
I
hell.
know.
And then we pulled out Hagwa Jung's card. Yeah, the
Yep.
card, you know.
And then
Yeah.
they know him.
Yeah, and
Yep.
then they said
They knew
they
him.
all know Hagwa Jung, one trained with him. So, yeah,
Yep.
we'll keep the
Yep.
weapons here. You
Put
guys,
them all the weapons. You can't go into Hong Kong with the weapons.
yeah.
Otherwise, you're going to start a war with the government.
And you go, how? They got fucking guns. Well, we got the 3-section staff, you know. Fucking
So funny, eh? So just getting back on track. So, you know, meditation is so personal that you can't sort of guide people because they must learn to do it themselves. So
I totally
I'll go
agree.
to the basic understanding. I'll go to the basic understanding of meditation, and I'll do it the way the Buddha taught it. Why? Because at the time of the Buddha, 2,600 years ago, life was very simple. It wasn't complex like it is now. So I always believe we should always go back to the basics, go back to the beginning, because everything now is complicated. Everything now is too advanced, or everything now is this and that, and you got so many more distractions, right? So to understand meditation and to practice it, I'll first explain to you the benefits, which is what's very important. Now, it has helped me with my anger issues with my dad. You see, I was beaten up every time I broke something, every time I fought with my brothers, every time I did something wrong. My father couldn't control himself because he had brain tumors, and I used to get beaten up.
Mm.
And I used to get beaten up until I was about 10 years old when I got my black belt in Zendukai. And I was able to grab his belt and I had my fist at him and I said, if you touch me one more time, I'm going to hit you. And that is when my father stopped hitting me. But, you know, it's actually that year where he had the brain tumor and he was put into hospital and I never ever saw him again.
Sure you didn't
You
Phoenix
know,
Iron.
oh,
That's how he
I
got
didn't
it.
know Phoenix Fist. I didn't know the Phoenix Fist those days, you know. I really wish all
All
I
right.
knew was the
And with meditation,
this
right?
one, but I didn't know how to develop it.
Yeah, and the double Fung Nan. There's a
Yeah,
double one as
because
well.
that karate has that, but I just didn't know how to develop it. And I was just too young.
Mm.
Yeah, all I wanted to do was fight.
Most
I was in
people that
gangs.
practice these arts haven't got a strong Phoenix eye anyway.
Nah,
Unless you're training and strengthening it, I wouldn't be punching
yeah,
you.
I'm gonna be showing on my books and videos how to not only strengthen them, how to do push-ups with them, and how to actually strike and how to, you know, we used to talk about the corkscrewing, you know, you
Yeah,
corkscrew it right in. And that's why I'm so serious about it that I'm very careful when I actually either demonstrate it or I actually, you know, just show it because see, it's so dangerous. It's absolutely so dangerous, especially if you know pressure points like I do.
mm.
Even this one here, just above the eyebrow, is called a fish loin. And this pressure point, I only got to, I only got to just like that speed into that center of your eyebrow with a phoenix fist, out. You're out cold. And that pressure point, if you look at all acupuncturists and so on, they all tell you it goes straight to the cortex. It's like a lightning strike. Boom.
Yeah.
And you don't have to be hard. So if you miss that, you hit the eye. So it's a
Actually,
double whammy.
here's a little story. One of my
Yeah.
students, when I was teaching out the West before you left,
Oh
um,
yeah, yeah.
we're training and we're doing sensitivity, but with strikes, and his name was Ninos. And he, as I was training with one sensitivity, he just bum rushed me, just tried to catch me off guard, and I went whack, and I cut his whole eyelid. It was hanging off on just, and every time he closed his eye, it
Yep.
was like that. His eyelid
Yep.
was hanging off, just one, just
Yep.
like that, and his whole eyelid split, and uh, just the sides were hanging on. Was
I
that?
know exactly what damage it can do, and that is seriously really bad. That's why I'm so cautious when I used to teach and I stopped really doing what we call the cotton palm or Because I can't do the iron palm because I'm an acupuncturist. Remember, I told you that.
Yeah, you want to have
Um,
the feeling and all that.
and I lose my sensitivity and my chi can't go through the needles, you know? And that's what I'm famous for the acupuncture. So, getting back to the meditation and its benefit, I found it was the greatest way to release my anger and I used to be sometimes very depressed, and I used to be so angry at my father, and I used to be so angry at myself. And sometimes I would smash walls, I would smash things, and I would injure myself. And I would say, why do I do that? And when I was in a monastery learning the meditation, my teacher said, these are the benefits that they will give you once you're able to sit for long periods of time. And one of them is you'll have good sleep. Another one, you'll feel always compassion and peace within your heart.
Mm.
You will know that if you have anger in your heart, you will always have this fire burning, which only consumes you. And then, of course, whenever you're confronted with fear or challenges, you just look at them as a challenge and you just go moving on. Now, the problem was, and my teacher in the monastery was really good at this, and he said the problem is what is the root cause of my anger and my depression? So I told him the truth. I said, my dad, my mum, in certain reasons. Of course, sometimes I was angry also with my girlfriend. I was going to marry her, and then she just double timed me. And sometimes the anger gets so angry. My
Nothing
girlfriend,
changes.
I'm going to kill her. I want to kill her. I used to get so angry. And even my teacher could see that. And he said to me, look at you. Look at your emotion. You're letting the emotion and the feeling override your judgment. You're a martial art teacher. And at that time, I was 19 years old and I was meant to be a Sifu. And he said, you're a martial art teacher. What happens if you lose control? Oh, shit. There's going to be some serious injury. There's going to be someone dead. And he said to me, that's why if you're going to be a teacher, you must have control of your anger. You must have control. But you have to first address the root cause of my depression, or the root cause of my anger to my dad, and the depression of, shit, no one's going to love me. I'm just an idiot, you know? And we actually start to believe these thoughts, and we start to create this constant voice in our head, always pushing ourselves down. And this is where you have to address the root cause of the problem. So what I did was I asked the master, I said, okay, this is so good. I'm so happy because, I was meditating. I'll tell you a really, really, really close secret that I was meditating for about 6 months. And when I had my Kundalini rising and I finally, finally realized that I've entered the stream of the universal truth, And what happened to me was that when I started sitting before and after, I started to see images of my dad. I started to see not an image of my dad hitting me, but an image of my dad saying, I'm sorry. Just please understand that it was my brain tumors and my mind, and I couldn't control them. And my mum used to tell me that. And you know what? I started to cry. I was meditating and I was crying in the forest, and I couldn't believe I was crying. I never cry.
Okay. Well,
You
that's
can't
all.
cry.
That's
You're a
that's
man.
all. I guess that's all part of the Kundalini
Yep.
purging.
Purging and releasing that anger and that fear and that hatred and that tension and negative vibration that you hold on for so long in your liver and in your stomach. And it just eats you up. It doesn't help you.
Well, that's
And
how
I
people
just felt
also get
so
sick from worry and stress. They die from it. Cancer
well.
forms.
Listen, depression brings on anxiety, and the anxiety and depression brings on the stress, and then everything follows. And it's such a bad, it's such a
Snowball.
bad domino effect, right?
Mm.
That sometimes if you can't control it and you got martial arts, you know what I used to do? I used to set up a bag inside my room or my house, and I'd put a picture of that person, and I would smash the shit out of the bag. And I'd say to myself, my God, if people could see me and I'm meant to be a teacher, oh God, this is
Issues.
terrible. Because everyone has to work with their dark side. They call it the dark shadow of yourself. And everyone, if anyone tells me, oh, I'm enlightened, I'm awakened, I said, you're full of shit.
All
Because
right. So
first of
so
all,
so
no
what?
one tells you that.
So that I think Carl Jung talks about the shadow self,
The
right?
shadow, the dark shadow of the
Shadow.
self, or the
Yeah.
soul, the dark
Yeah.
shadow of the soul. Yes.
Yeah.
Carl Jung is an amazing man. I've read a lot of his books. I actually love a lot of his sayings. But that's my problem. I've got like 20 gurus and 20 teachers, and I follow all of them, even Alan Watts, and they're all wonderful. They're all way showers. They're all way seers. They're all men who were like ourselves, mystics, looking for the truth, looking for freedom, and looking for their own salvation. And this is what we are. And we are here as way showers. And why do I say that? Because you don't want to lift yourself up to some guru, some enlightened man, or some bloody well. I hate that. I tell everyone the only reason that I'm in a position that I am now is because I spent so many decades of practice. I sit still every single day,
Okay.
almost 3 hours of meditation every morning.
So how do you, for the
Meditate.
people out there that want to
Yeah.
control their mind and start meditation, what is the method that you do to bring first stillness?
Okay. This is really good because I like the question. And I'll explain to you why I've become very simple in explaining this. Because see, everyone has their own technique that works for them. There are hundreds, there are thousands of different breathing techniques, stomach techniques, thoughts, mantras, mudras, and
Yeah,
all
yeah.
different things that you can do to create what they call mindfulness. This is the secret. This is a simple secret, which is not a secret, really, because the Buddha's been saying it for 2,600 years. Yogis and everyone have been saying it for
I wish I was
thousands and thousands
around
of
when the
years.
Buddha was around, because didn't the Buddha say, if you see the Buddha on the street, kill him?
Kill him. Yeah, because the
No, that's the idols, right?
everyone
That's
seems to
talking
think,
about idols and statues of the,
yep,
not the actual Buddha
yep.
himself, right?
That's why I really lost this ego sense going back when I was just going into my 50s. And I started to realize that I've got this such an ego thing that I'm the barefoot doctor, I'm a Sifu, I'm from the Yalkumun clan, I'm a Shaolin fighter. I am, always this I am. No, no, no. That's your ego. It's time to just drop the words, drop the concepts, and the only way that I was able to still my mind, and now I tell people it is so good. I sit for 3 hours and I don't have no thoughts. I just sit. Now, you asked probably the question, oh, but aren't you meant to do something, or aren't you meant to, control your thoughts? No, no, no. I tell everyone the first thing you do is you learn to just sit. No matter what's happening, just sit. And what I did was, the key was, that works for me, is I said to myself, I will sit for 5 minutes, I will set the alarm clock, and I'll do what the Buddha did. Because if the Buddha got awakened and became an enlightened, magical being, right, by this technique, and remember, he's been going through thousands and thousands of lifetimes to get enlightened. So how far are we? My God, right? And imagine that his technique was what they call anapanasati, which is focusing on the breath going in and out of the nose.
Is that Pali you're talking?
Yes, that's called Pali or Sanskrit.
Sanskrit.
Same. The Hindu
Okay.
Sanskrit, which is in the the Vedanas, and also Pali, which is Anapanasati, which is the focus of the breath. And why do I like that? Because it's the closest thing to you, and it's something that we all take for granted,
You
and we
know
don't
what?
realize that.
For me, meditation, how it works, like you said, everyone's got their way. I just follow my breath and I black out. That's all I have
That's
to.
it.
I don't.
That's it.
I don't think because I'm just focused on what my breath's doing and nothing else. And next minute,
Yep.
I'm in another world. Like,
Yep. Well, this is why I call to focus on the non-self aspect of yourself. It's a bit of a paradox, right? You're focusing on me, but you're not me. So what I say to myself is like when you go to sleep, you notice you die to the world and you don't even know that you're sleeping and you're dead to the world for how many hours. So I do the same thing when I meditate. I'm about to die, and we are of the nature to die. We're of the nature to get sick. We're of the nature to get old. You will never stop it. I was listening to these maniacs, these maniacs on transmutation and robots and all these big, like the Googles and Amazons and these billionaires, and they're talking about how death is an illness, and we should not be able to die. We should be able to live better. And I'm going, these people are insane. They're absolutely insane.
oh well,
Since the
they're trying
beginning
to
of
move.
time.
They're trying to even put consciousness now into AI.
Yep,
You can live on.
yep,
What an absolute
yep. This
rubbish.
is the this is the insanity of these people who actually believe what they're talking about. They're just bamboozling themselves. They don't understand the true nature of what I call it a sovereignty consciousness, or I call it a divine consciousness. And we're all connected to a divine consciousness, and nothing can ever beat that. And these idiots, they think their money and they think that their wealth and they think that their technology is going to give them immortality. Well, let me tell you what it's going to give them: absolute soulless beings. They will have no soul, they'll have no emotions, they will be dead anyway. I mean, look at it. Look at someone who's on the computer now, 24 hours and Google, and you're dead to the world. You have no soul. No
All
one wants to talk anymore like we did and, go out and enjoy each other's company. Every minute they're on a goddamn cell phone, right?
right, we're
So
about
let's
to
get
take
back
it.
on track.
Let's take
Oh,
a
we got,
quick break. It's about to finish this
okay.
and then we'll be
Yeah.
back after the break and we'll catch up back on meditation with Sifu Jen
Oh,
Sam.
yeah. I
Let's
love it.
cheers, bro.
Okay.
You'll be back.
So,
Welcome back, everyone, to Sifu G, the Esoteric Warrior, and the Tao of Kung Fu podcast. Welcome back, Sifu Jen Sam. Kicking off back where we were with the meditation. What's your view on semen retention and enlightenment? Is it needed? I know being a Buddhist, there's no sex. That's why I become a Taoist.
yeah. Okay, well, anyway, looking at, semen retention, and you're looking at, about the meaning of sex, and let's just talk about, the natural act of sex itself. I've always had that notion that, oh, we got to hold on to our semen and we got to make sure that we stay like that. And, all these people have these kind of ideas where the sex is a sin or it's not good before marriage and so forth. I've been very, very open about it because I just believe that it's such a natural act. Why is it always made to look like it's dirty or it's bad? And that's only because it depends on the way you've been brought up, depends on what you believe, and depends on what you've been taught. Now, the retention of semen is a very, very good topic. And I've been into it for many, many years. And I can tell people beyond a doubt, beyond a doubt, that there are no monks and there are no holy or spiritual yogis and people who are genuine that actually release their semen. The reason for that is that it's very obvious, and especially you know, and I know as a martial artist, and even boxers know this, that if you have sex before you fight, you won't have the stamina. Your legs will be wobbly. And we know that also because we've done tournaments, we've done fighting, but we also know for a fact that you seem to have more energy. Now, in Chinese medicine, especially Taoists, they talk about the Jing. Now, I'm always very into the San Sumo teaching, which was he lived to 101. He was a Taoist medical doctor, you know, martial artist, Tai Chi. He did all this stuff. And I read his books, The Golden Chambers and Medicine Worth 1,000 Pieces of Gold and blah, blah, blah. And what I loved about it was that, and I lived by that teaching, and the teaching was simple, is that he didn't talk about holding on to your semen because that's an unnatural act. And that actually causes mental disease. That actually causes a mental disease. And you have also a physical problem.
Oh, frustration as well. The list
Yep.
goes on. Anger, you know, we all need to come. And another thing you said about the legs going weak.
Yep.
Remember, sometimes training with Learn Churn, he'll know if you've had sex before you
Oh yeah.
training because we have to do horse stance for a fucking hour, people.
Yep.
And
Yep.
soon as you hit the saping mark,
Wobbling.
and next minute your legs are
Yep.
going like that, he'll go, I'm supple, you
Yep.
know, horny bastard, you had sex and
That's right. And you know, I've really been very honest with people, and I tell them that look, you can practice it, you can do it as much as you want. It's a personal thing. It's like fasting. It's like everything. It's personal. Now, when you make it look like you're doing it because it's dirty and you're doing it because, oh, you know, it's you're not holy. And I tell people you're an absolute fool. Why? Even Krishna, one of the holiest of people in Indian culture, and even the Buddha had sex.
Oh, really? I didn't realize that. I thought they were
You see,
all.
people don't realize that. 1 minute, he had a son. He got married to a beautiful 16-year-old fucking princess. You know, he knew all about sex. He had a son. This is what makes me laugh the
Oh, look,
most.
let's skip to the chase. They were all doing tantra,
Yeah,
sexual tantra, uh, sexual
that's right.
alchemy, right? To
Okay.
raise that,
Yep.
to raise the jing, right?
Yep. Now I'll get to the chase and I'll explain something very, very straightforward because I practice it all the time, all the time. And I've been doing it since I was young, but now it's even more stronger because when you get older, and Sun Tzu Mo, the great physician, Taoist physician, he said this, that when you're at the age of around 21 to 30, you can pretty much, you know, you can have sex 2 or 3 times a week. There's no issues. There's no problem because your gene and your sperm production and your body's production of all this is very strong. But then when you go into your 30s and 40s, he recommends that you should only do it once, maximum twice a week. You must hold on to that essence, the gene. Otherwise, you don't have the energy and your immune system for healing and for illnesses. And of course, if you're doing Kung Fu, you need the energy, the qi, right? Which comes from your Tantien, right? And there's a lot more to it, but I'll get to a simple story about the Jing, the Shen, and all this kind of stuff that has to connect together. And if you don't do it with the mental, the spiritual part, then you don't understand what the sex is all about. Now, everyone knows that when you're young, and especially like you and I knew when we were young, you go crazy, you know, you will go crazy because your hormones have been hijacked, they've been taken over, and you have to, because otherwise the human race would not have survived. And when I get some
You know what
idiot
it
coming to
is?
me saying, oh, you're not,
It's the
huh?
power of the pussy.
Yeah, I call it pussy power, remember?
Pussy
And
power.
I say to myself, listen, we have to look at it in a very realistic and a very honest way. And you wouldn't be, and neither would I, be sitting here talking to you if our parents didn't have sex. So why do we make it so dirty? Why do we make it sound so bad when Krishna was also a householder who also had sex and had a wife? And his Krishna is one of the highest of gods in Hinduism because there was no issues. And also in Buddhism, there was never an issue when it came to sex. And I'll explain to you the differences. Sex is not good when you're attached to it. And sex is no good when you know it causes harm to yourself and causes harm to someone else. And because it's such a strong attachment, this is where the tantric comes in. Because the sexual energy is almost one of the strongest energies that you can have minus the love. So when this is the great story that I tell all of my students and I tell a lot of my friends, and I think I told it to you, that when I said to one of my teachers, meditation teachers, I said, how do you guys sit there for days? And how do you get this jhana? It's called a jhana, where you sit in absolute bliss and stillness and nothing can move you, nothing can harm you. Someone can kill you, you won't even feel it. And he said to me, you know, when you climax, and everyone knows what it feels like to climax. Well, not everyone's, it depends on your sexual preferences and hang-ups and traumas and stuff. And some people don't know what it's like to orgasm. But when you orgasm, you get this mind blow, right? And it might only last maybe 5 seconds, it might last 2 seconds. When you're younger, it lasts a long time, but when you get older, it's like 10 seconds and even less, right? Just depends on your body and your sperm and blah blah blah. So what I've been doing is, as I'm now in my 60s, I've decided to practice the tantric sex. Now, what is tantric sex? Tantric sex is not releasing your semen.
It's that
And the
stop
reason for
before
that,
you get to orgasm, but reverse it internally.
exactly. And to bring it down into your Tantian, bring it down to your root chakra, and then to bring it into the spine so it goes to your head. And that's what my teacher said to me. And now I understand him when he said to me, can you imagine that when you climax and you have to do a lot of work to get that climax going. It's like having a sprint for 1 kilometer and blah, blah, blah. You hear all these sort of similes about what it's like, the workout of having sex. And it's really interesting. He said to me, can you imagine you can do it and it can last for hours and you're not releasing semen and it's just going to your head and your head is just blowing up. And I'm like,
Still the same type,
holy
still
crap.
the same type of bliss, but without
Correct.
ejaculating, right?
Correct. And he said to me, and I said, oh, so you've had a woman and you've had sex and all that. He said, yeah, of course. What do you think? Not like you. What, you think I just came into the monastery and became a monk? And I laughed because he was really serious. And I thought, wow, could you imagine that kind of control? And we actually have that power because
All right, all right.
when
Just to
someone
bring,
cuts your arm off and you can't feel it.
just come into that.
Sure,
Do
go
you
for it.
think a lot of
Yeah.
monks are jacking off?
I think so. Yes, of course.
You
You'll
know
never
that
know. You'll
I
never
just
know
got to go
because
to
you
the
remember.
forest. Do, do. Oh,
Look,
and come
I
back.
think whether they're doing it or not, it's a personal issue and it doesn't matter to me. Why?
All
Is
right.
because
What about a wet dream?
yeah, you're allowed that. Did you know that in the monastery, I was the keeper of the vinaya, which is the rule book, and I had the great memory, and so I would off by heart in Sanskrit. And my teacher said that there's only two things allowable when it comes to sex. And they talk about having sex with animals, you're not allowed. Having sex with just an orifice, right? Just like your hand, or a pussy model with a vibrator, right? Or something like that. You cannot do these things because it is the mental intention. That's what makes the karma, remember? And we know in Buddhism, and especially Taoism, they know the same thing, that karma is self-perpetuating. And if you have the intention, you are creating the karma, and you cannot stop that. And that's why my teacher gave me a story of this great yogi who was so powerful. He could levitate, he could move objects, he can create things in his hand. He can do all these great things that some yogis are doing now.
Okay, they call them
And he was made,
cedars or sidders or something.
yes, he does.
Sidders, where they
Siddhas.
get
He does.
special powers,
Siddhas.
mystical powers
Yes.
type of deal, right? But that shouldn't
Yep.
be
Correct.
that shouldn't be
Correct.
attached to that. It's actually a byproduct of proper practice.
Correct. And this is what my teacher told me, because I used to say, well, I got this book and I have it, and it's actually now online. It's called the Vimutti Marga, the Path to Freedom, where only masters are meant to read it. It teaches you how to have your own powers. Listen, we are superhuman. We are gods. We just don't know how to do it. And you need to meditate, because there is no guru, monk, no enlightened person. And that's all you need to know. And the second thing you need to know is that they all have one common denominator. It's all connected to the breath.
So it's the quality
Three
of
things
breathing.
three things that will teach you since the beginning of time that human beings are superhuman, and why even aliens and even other beings are jealous of us, is that we have the capacity to break open our DNA and become superhuman. Because the Buddha could levitate, the Buddha could do so many things, but the most powerful things that I know that the Buddha did, because it's inside the book, it teaches you how to do it, is two things. One of them is the power to shapeshift. And this is actually very common.
And didn't he walk on water as well? He walked on water before Jesus. Of course.
Even Damo did that, the patriarch of the Shaolin Temple. Right? So the other one is not just shapeshift, but to be invisible, to walk through walls, to change the frequency of his DNA. He could do anything. You have unbelievable power. And now I have videos. I've got videos, and I've got tons and tons of stuff I've downloaded that I can actually show people. And one of them that I really love is this samurai who can cut bullets. He can cut anything with a fucking knife. He's a samurai. He's a true warrior samurai. They shoot a gun at him and he can cut the bullet. It's just unbelievable. Now, let me ask you a question. Even the monks who can do the one finger, one hand standing up, it's now well known. Let me ask you a question. What makes him different from you or me?
Nothing.
Nothing. He has just been doing the training. Instead of going to school and studying all the bullshit, instead of doing all that crap, he trains, he meditates. You were right. It is the byproduct. Once you get into this level, you can't stay in public. You can't be.
So all is mind?
Everything is mind. That was the first part of the Dhammapada, what the Buddha said. All is mind. Remember, what comes into your eye, your nose, your mouth, your senses, it's what's recording your world. It's your world. not my world, it's your world. So you have a different form of reference. You are referencing a different part, even though we are the same. We trained in the same teacher, we trained, you're still referencing differently because your conditioning, your senses are picking up things differently. This is why mindfulness in meditation is so powerful. The Buddha said that when you can concentrate and focus your mind for just 7 minutes, he talks about 7 minutes. Now, don't get me wrong. I laughed when I heard it because I said, 1 minute, there was no time then. So how did they get this 7 minutes?
7 chakra.
And then there's 7 hours. But what I did believe was the 7 days and the 7 months and the 7 years. And why? Is because he said that once you have a focus of mindfulness, it is so powerful that it can split a mountain in half. And that's about focus, right? So it just shows that we are in control of our body and mind, but you cannot do it without meditation. It is not possible. I've never heard of anyone who has discipline and control and is a yogi or a guru or a martial artist that does not meditate. Never heard of it.
And even the
And when I say meditation, there's also 3 different types. There is moving meditation, which is what we do, Tai Chi.
Yeah.
Right? And then there is sitting meditation. There is walking meditation. There is standing meditation, 1 year.
Yeah.
Right? So you see everything, even washing dishes. Washing dishes is one of my favorites because that's how I learned when I was a young boy. Washing dishes is a meditation. You know, everything you do is a meditation because it's mindfulness, being aware of the present moment.
It's funny you brought up 7 because I created a body weight workout called 108 Fit. And on the days off in between body weight training, you walk and you breathe in for 7 steps, breathe out for 7 steps, right? As you just say you do an hour walking and you got to control your breath with your steps, 7 steps in, 7 steps breathing out, and it builds up your lung capacity. Not many can do 7 steps and breathing in. So you start off maybe 4 steps breathing in, 4 breathing out till you build up your lung capacity and the timing because
you're absolutely right.
And it's one of the best you just zone out when you're doing that type of walking and just breathing 7 steps, and that's all you're focusing on until you get hit by a car.
Yeah.
Oops.
You know, Gaz, you're absolutely right. You see, everyone has a different form of, so let's just say, mindfulness of the present moment and meditation. And if you can really connect with your which is you, if you can get that connection, then your meditation goes through the roof. Then you'll be sitting for days. Then you'll be sitting for hours. And you would not go like me, would not go a day without sitting.
I remember when you just visited me about 2 months ago. You're up already meditating before I woke up.
Three o'clock. I've got this wonderful clock inside. We don't need watches. And I wake up every day. Doesn't matter if I sleep at 12. Doesn't matter if I sleep at 1. But if I sleep at 2, my system will just shut down anyway. I listen to my body. And 3 o'clock, and it's funny because when I looked up the time, it is a very special time. Someone who's meditating and always wakes up at 3, it's a special time where they say where the spirits and the soul and the veil is opened. And it's quiet and peaceful. When the world goes crazy and when the world goes insane, when you haven't got TV and you haven't got computers anymore, can you sit and just be in the stillness.
All you got is
Most
you,
people will go
really.
crazy.
All you got is you know, at the end of the day. And most people are
That's
unaware,
why I tell everyone.
they're unaware of themselves because they're so caught up in phones, fucking everything else in life.
Yep.
All you need is kung fu.
Well, think about it. Well, think about it. Yeah. Well, think about it. Your happiness doesn't come from outside of you. It's actually welled up inside of you.
Mm.
And you don't need anyone. You don't you don't need the dog. You don't need anything because to get that happiness, just sit in stillness. And like I do, I'm completely content just being nothing, doing nothing, and just being a nobody. Because when you have to impress people, you have to show people, you have to teach people, you have to do things, nah, you're going to be stressed, you're going to have anxiety, you're going to have fear. And then, of course, the negativity comes down on top of you. And if you don't have the meditation and if you don't address the root cause, you start going into depression. Now, you know what? I'll tell you now, that's one of the biggest sicknesses of our society today. Second, like cancer and diabetes and high blood, that would be one of the biggest. You know, a lot of my good friends, they're all on depression medicine.
Mm.
Do you know they take so many drugs to just alleviate themselves from the stress of paying bills, from the stress of their wives or their children, from the stress of just living? They can't handle it. And did you know what would happen if the pharmaceuticals or the doctors stop prescribing them? You go crazy.
Oh,
That's why meditation is crucial. The same way my teacher told me when I was a kid, the same way you go to the toilet to have your poo and your pee every morning, you must also sit and meditate every morning. Minimum half an hour. Maximum, that's up to you. Now, there's something special that happens to you when you've reached that inner peace and stillness that I'm going through now. And that is you start to disconnect. You start to detach from everything around you. You start to realize everything is an illusion. It's just a game. it's it's you know, when you realize you're made out of energy and we have trillions of cells and we're so powerful, right? We are so powerful, more powerful than a lightning bolt because we have trillions of cells and each one of those cells is 1.2 volt or 0.7 volt. So you calculate the voltage you've got inside of you. Do you know how powerful you are? You are a god. And all you have to do is just connect with your frequency. And this is all it is. And when you get to that level, like now, you start to say to yourself, where do I want to go? What do I want to do? What do I want to achieve? And do you know what I say to myself? I just want to be at peace and I just want to be happy, content. That's it. Be grateful for what I have because I am healthy. I have food. I have so many people that love me. I've got, friends. I've got shelter. I've got clothes. Do you know that you're one of the most richest people in the world? Because you have what rich people don't even have. People
yeah,
don't love them
we
because
seem
they're,
to whinge a lot, don't we? The Western world, keeping up with the Joneses, the white picket fence, the new car every year.
yep.
But that being said, my car just fucking broke down today, blown head gasket, giddy up.
Can
So
anyone give me some donation because I'm stuffed.
yeah, we're asking for donation. No, so I'm gonna have to get the wreckers, take it to the wreckers. It's gone.
Uh,
But
uh,
what can
you
you
know,
do?
it's really, yeah. Look, that's why actually it was only about 5 years ago when when the pandemic hit, I really woke up quickly and I decided to simplify my life. My life was so complicated 5 years ago when the pandemic happened, I still had problems. I had so many problems with my partner. I had problems with all my kids. I had problems with myself. I didn't know what to do with myself. I was going crazy. And I just said to myself, I need to simplify my life. I need to find that end purpose. Where do I go? How am I going to change my life? And you know what? You know what came up to me? Was the face of my long-term master. And it said to me, you already have enough. Master what you have and be grateful. And that's why every day that I meditate, I'm always saying to the divine, and the divine is not outside. The secret is the divine and Jesus, or whatever you want to call it, it's inside you. It's inside every one of us, because we are all a spark of the divine energy of the universe.
I totally
And
agree.
once you understand that, you look at life as, why are you depressed? Why would you be angry? It's just a joke. It's all an illusion, because we get depressed, we get angry because of our ego. We have such a big ego that it has to be right. I don't like it. I want it my way. No, I stop you. I don't want to be with you. You're not doing what I want you to do. No, I hate that. And all of us are in the same boat. And when you see that, you start to have compassion, and you start to understand how, oh boy, I'm such a bad person when I was younger, you know? And I was so egotistical, and I'm so stupid. And I've treated so many of my ex-partners so badly. And no wonder we get bad karma return. You know what comes around goes around? It gets you.
Cause and
It
effect.
will get you. Cause and effect. And that's why I take this holistic approach to mental health. And listen well, because I'm going to give you all my notes. It's my protocol. So when I give you this, you're going to go, oh my God, this is unbelievable. Because I'm going to tell you something that's probably going to blow you away. I wrote it down so I would not forget.
All right, give it to me, brother. Give it to me. Come on.
Get ready. Open your mind. This is going to be a real mind blower.
Bring it on, baby. Let's go.
Depression. People's depression is not the cause of your problem. It's the results of the effects of your own mental thoughts, your outlook in life. Because physically, every day, your thoughts are rambling on, and it's creating either a negative or a positive. And that keeps on compound until you snap, until you break. Now, very, very important, because it's all connected to the mind, body, and spirit. This is why the three jewels, Jing, Shen, and
Hey.
Qi.
Yeah, hey. Jing, hey.
Now, exactly. Now, this is where everyone is getting it. It's all connected to not just your, but all the food and everything you touch. Because the food you're eating is already negative, and it has dark energy. It hasn't got light. And how do I know? Very simple. Cleary and camera will show you that an apple compared to a piece of meat that's been burnt or even has no life force energy. It is now a proven fact that if you eat food that has been cooked with no digestive enzymes, and if you eat any food that is processed with chemical synthetics, or you microwave it, that is the cause and effect of your mental problems. Now, I'll get to just one thing that's even more important. Now, I've got all this down for you in notes, and I've got all of the cures, the remedies, because I love to give everyone the remedies. Now, the number one remedy And I'm gonna give you the science. This is very important because people love the science. I'm going to give you the science. Now, your brain contains a lot of oil and it needs a certain type of oil. And so I made the notes and I even made the
Soil.
science
Cannabis soil.
to show you. Well, actually, it is. It is. And it's already been proven. That's why the goddamn Americans, they patented it in the early 1800s.
Mhm.
It was great medicine for depression. Even my mother, when she was dying from leukemia, we gave her CBD oil. And she said, honey, I'm always laughing and I'm always happy and I'm feeling so good. How can I cook? How can I drive? How can I do anything? And I said, Mum, because see, when you're negative, that's why your cells die. And that's why you have cancer. And that's why you're going to die. But when you're happy, your body and your cells start to regenerate because everything is about attitude. And she didn't
Good,
understand
good.
that. So
So good thoughts, good food, good water, good air.
good friends, good company, dog, right? So hear me out. Omega-3 fatty acids are the most essential oils to get. And guess what? 99.9999999% of almost everyone on the planet is deficient in omega-3 oil. Now, let me give you the science. And you're going to
Okay,
go, holy
but
fuck,
just okay.
that's the cure.
So omega-3 we know we can get from fish and some nuts, right? What? But a lot of the fish these
Listen,
days is full of fucking mercury. You know.
correct. Everything, and I mean 99% of nearly everything, is poisoned, destroyed, GMO'd, and chemically treated. And even if you buy it organically, the soil is depleted anyway. So it doesn't have what you need.
Mm.
So let me give you the secret. So I'm going to read you the notes and the science. Omega-3 fatty acids are essential nutrients that play a crucial role in brain health and the function. Now, this is real science. Now, here's why particularly it's important for the brain. First of all, without it, this is what happens to you. This is why people get depressed. This is why they go crazy, because they're not even getting that. The first thing, and I won't get into too much detail, and I've got all the notes to send you so you can go through it and you can see it and you'll go, fuck, that's all you need. And I'll give you the list of how you can get it. And it has to be organic and it has to be properly from the right things. Otherwise, like I said, fish, salmon, forget it. It's all full of mercury. It's all fucking genetic modified. It's all fucked. And by the way, if you cook it, it's gone. So there goes your fish.
I love you, man. That's unreal.
So omega-3 fatty acids, EPA, are very important for the structural components of the brain cells. Without it, your neurotransmitters and your function can't work. That's why you start to go crazy if you're not getting and you're deficient. Number two, it's an anti-inflammatory, so it stops the inflammation in the brain. Second, number three, it's a neuroprotection for your brain cells. Now, no one's getting that because if you're getting the vaccines and you're getting all the other shit, that's what's fucking made you go crazy, man. Realize it. You see?
Yeah, to get two of those fuckers.
Next. Yep. And by the way, wait till I give you the chelation detoxification protocol that no one in the world knows. I've made it. I can't guarantee that it will not that it will get rid of or that it will heal your DNA or whatever structure they've destroyed in your DNA structure. And I can't tell you, and doesn't probably matter to you anyway, about your fertility because in women it's killed their fertility. But I can tell you that you won't have a problem with the cardiovascular, the stroke, and most importantly, the blockages with the parasites and all the rest of the fucking bullshit they put into it. Oh, now Bill Gates is telling everyone. Now you go online. Oh, all the listen. AstraZeneca has just pulled their vaccine and have told the whole world that it's killed and it's killing too many people.
I know. I watched it, and I, like you and I, when it first started, we were on Facebook telling everyone about it. People they fucking worked with, the nurses.
I
Oh, Gary, you're so conspiracy theory. No,
listen.
we know the
I was
fucking.
arrested. I listen. I've got 6 vaccine videos that I released before the vaccine came out, and I was visited by the police, and I was told to cease and desist, so they'll take my computer and they'll lock me up as a terrorist against the country. In 2020, I have the proof. I have everything to show people that not only I was telling the truth, not only I was one of those conspiracy theorists, but at least I stood my ground and all my children and everyone else, because, I lost a lot of friends. They died because they didn't listen to me.
I lost 9.
And now they're telling everyone. And by the way, they're all going to go to the place where these people go. Because why? Is because the Nuremberg court and the statistics and the whole world already knows they're not going to win with another pandemic, but they're still trying with disease X, and they're still trying with all the bullshit.
Oh, they're
But
spraying
what
it
they
in
didn't
food.
realize,
They reckon they're going to be putting it in lettuce and all sorts of shit now. Like,
listen, it already is. They're
yeah,
not telling anyone. Everything is already put inside. That's why I don't eat. You'll be surprised. I am pretty much almost 100% organic, and I am very, very careful what I put into my mouth and what I put into my body. And I do a lot of fasting, and I do a lot of chelation detoxification with C60s. I've got all the knowledge to show you how to cure yourself and how to clean it. And guess how I prove it? Oh, we got to finish again.
yeah, we're about to cut off again. So we'll be back after this break,
Okay.
everyone. This is really interesting
How
because
long? How long? What sort of break do we have? How long is it?
it's
5 minutes?
8 minutes. So go and eat,
Okay.
and I'll
Yeah.
text you when yeah.
Yep.
All right, everyone. We'll be
Yep.
back in
We
a
shall
sec.
see. Yep.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Tao of Kung Fu podcast with Sifu Jen Sam and myself. Now, just before we start this last part off, I know to some of you, we may have gone off track on meditation, but food, what we put into the body, is detrimental to your meditation practice, especially for
Your
health
brain.
and everything else. So we may have gone off track on the practice, but we're into the food aspect of it. And don't forget, like, subscribe, share this work, and don't forget to comment, because we love to know what you guys think and interact with us. That's why we're doing all this. All right, Sifu Jen Sam, we're talking about the brain and the type of foods, yeah?
Correct. Now, it's been part of my practice myself, where I've practiced trying to use certain ingredients, certain foods, which actually give you memory, which actually is cognitive, which actually has a lot of science, and it has been used for a long, long time, even before the science. And this is what I always tell people: go to the beginning and you'll know that what really works and what doesn't. Because every year there's some new thing, It's just synthetic. It's just something that they've created in a lab. And then they just want to charge you money for it. And you're not going to win. The best thing is always go natural. Now,
Well,
as I was saying,
well, that's why we're bringing this awareness, because most people are unconscious of it. They
that's right.
just eat for pleasure, eat
Yeah,
eat on the go, something quick, something fast.
tastes good. Correct. And this is why when I was studying about the fatty acids or fatty essential oil acids, it was interesting to me that the omega acids, especially three, is so important just for the functioning of your brain, not just to protect the cells, but to protect and to function your brain. How obvious is it? That's why people are getting stressed, why they're getting anxiety, why they're getting depressed, and why they're getting completely frustrated. Because see, if you top that off with what's just happened for nearly 3 years of the vaccine and the hypoxia, can you imagine 30 years of, I actually said it during the 2020 on my videos. I kept them. I will re-release them again, but with subtitles and all sorts of stuff. But you know what I said? I said to everyone, I said, I don't know, is it just me or is it just, everyone is just so sleepy. They just they just believe anything that someone says to them. I've been against vaccines since I had children, since I was in my late or early mid 30s. And I did it because I studied medicine and I was going to be a doctor. And I realized, no, I'm not going to be medicine. I'm not going to do doctor because they are the drug pushers. And until the human race wakes up and realizes that there is no such thing as a cure with pharmaceutical, because it's not profitable. There is no money in cure. There's only money in sickness. That's my saying. And that's why I realize now that it doesn't matter. It's like Kung Fu. It doesn't matter how good you are, guys. It doesn't matter how good you are. Because even if you're superhuman and so good in martial arts, they will never let you be successful. Like Bruce Lee. Why? Because you will show the world that you are a superhuman. And the world is very scared of that, especially the elites, especially the system, especially the government, to show that you are very powerful, especially physically, because that
Especially,
scares the fuck out of them.
especially smart people.
Oh, that's even worse. The ones that think. And that's why, you wait until next year when I start to come out with my Shambhala village, my place of sanctuary where you can train, where you can be who you want to be, where everything is free and you do not have to work. Listen, we must be the most stupidest creatures on the universe that we only exist in stupid paper and dollars and stupid money that is an illusion of ownership. Everything, your house, everything is just an illusion. It's an illusion you have created. Remember, and this is what I love the most. My masters always told me this, especially in the Buddha's meditation. What you create, you can uncreate. You have that power. You can walk away tomorrow. That's if you want to. Because that's the
People are not mentally prepared and not
now
mentally strong enough to do.
now now. And if you're eating a diet of processed junk, sugar food, and beers and drinks and smokes and drugs and whatever you're doing, you are not going to be prepared for what's coming next. Because what's coming next is seriously, a huge, I call it, what would you call it?
Death.
I would call it the biggest con and scam on the whole human race, because
It's all
the
about
pharmaceuticals.
depopulation now. That's what they're into.
Oh yeah, oh they love it, and
That's
you
what
know
it's
what?
all.
And they're talking everything in the open now, and people still don't listen, and people are still not listening, and people still don't care. They've been telling them like Pauline Hanson in Australia. She's telling all the Australians before they approve the ID, national ID, and they've been trying that for 20 years to get that, but no one wants to do it because all your privacy is gone. Well, guess what? She went up and she said, if Australia accepts this ID card, it's all over for freedom, for Australia, for everything. And no one listened to her. They call her crazy. And guess what? We're all crazy who didn't stand by her because they approved it. It's now passed, and that means everyone by the end of this year has to start getting an ID card. It's a digital tracking ID card, which will have all your medical records, all your vaccines, all your this, all your that. You can't leave the country. You can't get your taxes. Everything has to go through MyGov. I just went through my accountant today and I said to her, I want to get all my taxes out. Yeah, sure, no problem. But you have to go through MyGov. Nothing now in Australia is allowed to go through unless it's going through MyGov. So what does that tell you? You are now 100% a slave and you have no more rights, no more freedom, no more privacy. So that's why I said to myself, I'm so lucky. I can pack my bag. I make enough money every week now. I can pack my bag and I can get on a plane and go back to my Shambhala village and just sit there and sit it out while the whole world kills itself.
Well,
Because
you heard about the 15-minute suburbs.
yeah, they're doing it. They're doing it anyway, even though people don't want it. They're doing it anyway.
It's
And the same with
fucking
electric cars.
barbaric, like what the fuck are they
It's
thinking?
insanity.
If they want people to lose their mind and start killing people and try to encase them in one little area and not allowed to leave, and if you leave, the cameras are gonna catch you. You get fined
Well,
if you go out too many
I've-
kilometers. Like
exactly.
no freedom.
I've made, I've made this prediction probably more than a year ago. This is a prediction I made more than a year ago. I said they're going to use a war to put the fear of everyone because they have to keep people in fear because they get traumatized. They're traumatized from everything. Now, once they've done that, they're going to start doing the hacking. They're going to start destroying people's bank accounts and they're going to say, listen, Russia's hacking our accounts. You're gonna have to get a special digital ID so that before you go online, before you go into YouTube, before you go anywhere, we need to know who you are. We're going to track you. We're going to know who you are, everything. And what they're going to do is then they're going to say, oh, now you must have digital currency. We're not going to use money anymore.
They're already tracking us.
Game over. Of course.
They're already
Of
tracking us
course.
on TV. They listen in.
Listen, I think that was already known 10 years ago. And all the whistleblowers were telling everyone. And no one listened. No one cares. People still have a cell phone. Listen, do you know how I know if you can survive in the Shambhala? No cell phones allowed. Have a nice day. That's why people go to me, oh, geez, you're going to be really busy. There's a lot of people. No, you'll be surprised. People, I know the first part of their discipline is no more cell phones, sorry. Oh, but my friends, oh, I don't care. We don't allow cell phones in Shambhala. No cell phones, no tracking. No way can the drones find you. You are living in the mountains. You're going to live free. If you want to communicate, you can go down into the village and they got a peso Wi-Fi where you can put 5 pesos and you can talk point to point to anyone you want for 1 hour. And it's only 5 pesos. And at least that way you're controlling the time, right? Not like here, Wi-Fi is all 24/7 like now.
Yeah.
You see? It's everything has been done by design, including the weather modification, including the GMOs. It is beyond my logical and complete understanding that the human race is insane. We're allowing the chemtrails. We're allowing everything. We're not getting up there with pitchers and forks and going up to the government saying we're done with this shit. Now, people saying, what can we do?
You know what I don't understand? How come
Yeah.
no one's gone to Parliament and asked them why are they spraying the fucking air and who
Yep.
has
Yep.
agreed to it? Who's paying
Correct.
them? Because the pilots are getting paid like 20 grand or 10 grand, whatever it is, to
Oh,
spray
you
the
can
air.
be sure they paid a lot of money.
Yeah. So
That's why I laugh.
who signed off on that? And why are they doing it? I want answers for that. That drives me
Well,
fucking nuts, man.
what's even worse, why are we doing chemical and biological weapons in vaccines?
Yeah.
Who actually allowed a government to even think of doing such things? By the way, it's no more an enemy of the state. It's every living citizen is an enemy of their state. This is fucking insanity.
It is.
And they love it because that's how the whole system works on chaos. Because the more everyone goes crazy, the more they will control you and they'll put you under lockdown. That's what they want. And that's why I've developed the Shambhala. That's why I'm working now to finalize my financials. And now I'm going to finish what I started. And like I said, you got to realize that the depression and the stress and the anxieties and all the problems of humanity is really stemming from, and it's really stemming from all government systems that have been laid down deliberately to destroy the human race. And yet we still believe in government. We still vote. I've never voted. 60 years, I've never voted. So that's why I tell people, the only way to win is put the cell phone down, throw away the SIM card, throw away the batteries, throw away the cell phone if you want to, right? Second, if you've got a problem with anything, let it go, throw it away. The best form of rebellion is non-compliance. Don't comply. That's it. That's why I don't pay tax. That's why I don't comply. That's why I don't pay my registration bills and all these other bills, because I know about the citizenship account. I know about freedom. No one needs to pay it. As Samuel Ford said, if people knew how money was created, there'll be a civil war tomorrow. Because everyone doesn't ask the simple question, why is it we owe money? And who is it that we owe money to? If it's a bank, it means there are people who are running it. So why is it that we owe these people trillions of dollars? How much money is enough? They've got enough for 100,000 lifetimes if we had a human, existence on a planet Earth. So why is it that these people, we've allowed them? This is the irony, and I tell this to everyone, and I'm going to tell it when I get to the Philippines, because you can't talk like we're talking now online. They cut you off. You're censored.
Oh, really?
People don't even know that. People don't even know that as soon as you talk like I'm talking, you and I are talking, you will be censored. You will be taken off because it's against community guidelines. You're not allowed to think for yourself, and you can't talk against the system, right?
So
why is it that we attack?
Will this be taken down off YouTube because we're talking normal shit? But there's people out there talking about the vaccines now and saying that
I don't think they'll take us off, because that what they do is they've got these fact checkers, and what they do is they watch the first 5-10 minutes, they see what we're talking about, and then they usually go off to something else. So because our talk is about meditation.
Well, it still is, and it's a shame that
I'll write it into a simple. I've got all the notes for you, and I've put it down as a basic conclusion, and all the tips that you need to incorporate the meditation into your daily life or into your martial arts. And then, of course, you'll understand when I give you what I call the diet or the food eating habit that you have to incorporate. I give you the solution. It's useless talking about something which is all on one side, but you don't give a solution. I hate that. So I give you a solution. You have two choices. You change your food, or nothing's going to change. And the easiest thing to change is your food, not your mind, because your mind takes a long, long time. and you need good friends, you need good food, and you need good adjustments, or what we call conditioning. I mean, you're talking about probiotics, antioxidants. You're talking about especially hydration, special structured water. You know what I drink? Let me show you what I drink. Every day, I make what they call structured alkaline mineralized water. And you see what's inside that? Lemon, cucumber, Himalayan pink salt, which is activated for 24 hours, so it dissolves into the water. So you've got 90 minerals inside here, pure 100% manuka or honey, and avocado seed, cut, peeled and cut. This water becomes a structured probiotic alkaline water, and I've got a huge science on it. And people just don't understand that even the water they're drinking, 99% of all the water you're drinking is toxic.
Oh yeah.
It's not alkaline, it's acidic.
I saw
It
a
sucks.
clip. I saw a clip of someone, I think, putting electrodes into the
Oh
water
yeah,
they buy from the
yeah,
shop, and it's coming out
yep,
black and sludgy. All the minerals
yep,
and heavy metals
yep,
in it. Like
yep.
you can't even
Correct.
buy fresh fucking water, and they charge you an arm and leg.
Correct. You see? And that's why this world is insane.
I
We've
rem-
poisoned the most important element that the body needs. We are 75% water.
I
I
remember
talk about water all the time.
I remember you used to be big on colonics as well.
Still do it
You still do
every
it?
year, minimum every 6 months.
Can you tell us a bit about that?
Well, it's a simple thing. It's been around for hundreds of years. And what I do is I make myself a enema kit, and every 3 to 4 months, sometimes 6 months, I clean myself out. And I use chamomile tea, I use garlic, and all this is mixed into hot water. So it's like a garlic chamomile tea. And then you make sure it's cooled. Then I put it into an enema bag, and even a kid can do it. And then you go over to the CR, you sit in the bathroom, and you let all the stuff come out. And when you see the shit that comes out, you're going to say to yourself, oh my God, no wonder rectal cancer is one of the worst cancers in the world. Because you don't realize that everything you eat, if it doesn't get digested, what happens to it? It impacts your intestinal 26 feet lining. And when you do try to get it out, you know how you have to use bentonite clay, you got to use charcoal. I've got all this in my protocol. And when that stuff
They even
comes out,
use coffee granules as well.
yep, yep. I don't use coffee.
I had a book on Dr. Gerson.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, Dr. Gershon.
yeah, I
The
had
Gershon therapy. He
yeah
uses
Gerson,
liver
yeah,
and
and the first
very
thing they
famous
do,
cancer cure.
the first
Very
thing
famous, and they're still famous.
the first thing they do is enema,
Correct.
right? And
Well, look at it this way. Your plumbing system is blocked. How the hell are you going to be cured?
toxic, you know.
You can't. It's like a car. If you don't do the service and maintenance, everything's going to be blocked up. And that's why I realize even if you're using ginseng, you're using all the best herbs, it's not going to absorb in your body because the 9 out of 10, most of the food we eat is not bioavailable anyway. Why? Because it's been processed. The body does not recognize what's not real. It tastes good, feels good, but you know what? Nutrition is a fake science because we cannot even create an apple. We don't even know how to make a seed. So what's nutrition? I'll tell you what nutrition is. Someone's come along and said there's A, B, C, D, B, 2, 3, 4, 17, 12, and D, E, 3, 4, 5. It's all bullshit. And let me tell you something another about D3. You know, D3 is really big now. Beep, beep, beep. Let me ask you a question. Why is it that D3 is free? It comes from the sunlight. I'll tell you why. Because they're telling you that you shouldn't stay too long in the sun. You get skin cancer. It's not healthy. You might even have a stroke. This is absolute insanity. But yet everyone's listening to the fucking science. They're
I
listening
saw
to the doctors.
I saw
Oh,
another
bullshit.
I saw another clip and they're talking about doing the biopsies on cancers,
Yeah.
right? And the doctor said never get a biopsy because as soon as you puncture it,
Yep.
you've
The
and you'll never.
evil enters the body. That even the Chinese knew that thousands of years ago. Never allow the evil wind or the evil, whatever it is, to enter the body by doing these biopsies. Oh, look, I've treated a lot of people who had cancer from biopsies. And it's just it's just really sad that humanity has allowed the pharmaceuticals, humanity has allowed the system to control everything. Let me tell you something, Gary, that I've already realized that why is it that we're always thinking about charging people? You got to charge them for money. You got to get the money. You got to get the money. If money was no object, and let's just say that you don't need it anymore, would you really charge? Did they ever charge Ha Hong Hong, Ha Guok Cheong? Did they get charged to learn martial arts? It was done for free. The monks, everything. What we stand for is to just perpetuate the system of slavery because they've made you believe that, oh, you got to get money. No, no, no. What if you didn't need it? Let's just say that we're living free in the mountains, like I've got a place, right? Why would we need to get the money for when we're living free anyway and you can't spend it because see, next year when we go all digital, it's game over anyway.
Well,
Because
if you've
guess
got
what?
enough food growing, and that's no problem. Food and clean water,
Right.
that that
Yep,
that's all you really need, right?
that's right. But even the people who've got money doesn't mean you're going to be secure. The best ones are the preppers. These are the guys that I really respect. The preppers have been preparing for this stuff for a long time, and they've been right. They've been right, and that's why meditation is so crucial because the you and I know when the world goes to hell, and it is going to go eventually, it's going to collapse. The system must collapse, and when it does, how many of us are going to be around to say that we survived?
Not many.
I already have my underground storage for 12 months of food. We're already preparing to buy all the black rice in sacks and preparing to do all of our mason jars and all of our stocks and supplies. We're going to be using radar. I'm going to be using the Faraday caging so the drones and things can't find us. There's so many things I've been preparing because I knew this from my dad in the 1980s when he told me the cell phone's going to destroy the whole human race. He's right. He was right all along, and he knew it. Because can you imagine if we didn't have a cell phone? Could you imagine how easy and simple and how great our life would be? If you never went onto the television or any news, you would never know what's happening around the world, and
Yeah.
you'd be just happy living your life. Do you see what I mean? The cell phone was made to be an innovative tool for us to communicate, to be friendly, and to educate ourselves. It's become a weapon. It surveillances, it watches you, listens to you, records you, and eventually it's going to kill you because it's all
And it
radiation.
and it pushes people to buy things and all sorts of,
Oh, yeah.
you
You
know,
know, it has an AI completely dedicated to you. And if you love martial arts like me, I like martial arts and food. Every 10 minutes, I've got a fucking herbal medicine, martial arts, Tibetan drums.
yeah.
Fucking, I said, how the fuck does it know what I'm thinking? No, it just, because it's got the AI and it's working with you because it knows what you like,
Mm.
you see. And that's why, I find meditation to be my neutralizer, to be able to handle if the world starts to go upside down. I'm going to be able to sit and meditate and focus of how I can create a solution for myself first and then for others or my friends.
So
Like
so,
my
so
best friends are so happy that I have a sanctuary. You know why they say to me? If we really have a problem, we want to get the hell out of here. At least we know we can come to your place. And I said, yeah, that's true.
so
It's
do you
exactly
think
true.
that meditation at the base level make people think clearer,
Oh,
put the
beyond a
clarity?
doubt. I mean, isn't it a logical and an intuitive answer already? Because see, every yoga, every yogi, every guru, every monk, every spiritual priest, anyone would tell you straight away, of course. Because see, we know that religion, spirituality, meditation, prayer, all these things are a big positive. We know that. So we don't, you know, I keep on asking myself, why do we have to keep on asking about something that's natural, that's been around since the beginning of time? And we keep on asking and we want to see science on it. And even if you see the science, I'll tell you another secret. They'll make no fucking difference because they'll never let someone like you or me be famous. They cannot have some Jesus Christ or they cannot have some Moses. They cannot have someone who's for humanity. Do you ever notice that? There's no more Martin Luther Kings. There's no more Mahatma Gandhis. There's no more Buddhas. There's no more Christs. And this is why, sometimes between you and me, I actually understand my teacher when I said to him, and this is a really, really interesting topic, and we can get to this another time. But I said to my teacher, when he asked me, my Buddhist meditation teacher in the monastery, I said to him, I said, Moses and Jesus and all these people and Buddha, amazing people. I mean, God's gifts and, absolute sages and whatever. And he said to me, so do you believe that they were better than you? I said, yeah, I mean, everyone talks about them. Everyone knows them. They're so famous. Even Mohammedan Muslims. Look, it's a whole entire religion. And you should read the true story of Muhammad. And the guy had schizophrenia. The guy had so many problems, and yet he's created one of the biggest religions in the world. And he's killed people. Can you imagine that? This is how everyone is so easily influenced and easily hoodwinked.
Well, even Yahweh is a demon.
Yeah,
You
the
know,
same thing.
the
The same
Bible and
thing.
all that, it's all about sacrificing. I'm going to burn the fucking world
Yep,
down, make a flood. Like,
yep.
that's not an all
That's
loving.
not a loving God. That's no loving God there.
No.
But that's why I say to people when they ask me what's my religion, I just tell them love. And when they ask me what's my race, I just say humanity. And when they ask me what's my religion, again, and they're waiting for an answer like Muslim, Jew, Christian, Buddhist, whatever, Hindu, I tell them, what's your religion? And whatever that religion is, that's my religion. It's the same. We all believe in one divine God, or we all believe in one divine power, or we all believe in whatever name you want to put to it. It's just a name.
But
And
they
at the
all
end of the
fucking
day,
kill each other over who's got the real God. Like, this is what I mean. Like, I think religion can be really bad.
insanity. It's
Yeah.
insanity.
When they
That's why I've
re-
learned
read the
to not put
scriptures, and
myself in a box.
it's all allegory. It's not to be
Yep.
taken. It's an internal thing. It's not a God sitting on a throne on a cloud.
Well, you know what my meditation teacher said to me, which I still remember today so clearly? He said to me, let me tell you something about Jesus or Buddha or any of the great, great teachers of our times. They were no different than you and I. And I look at him and I go, what are you talking about? I mean, everyone knows that they were from God or from somewhere that, because how could they do what they did? And you know what he said to me? What did Buddha create Buddhism? Did Jesus create Christianity? Did did Shiva or Krishna or whatever gods they believe in, do you think that they created Hinduism? Do you think any of the religions was created by their teachers, their main teachers? None of them, because they just spoke the same truth. And I'm like, okay, I can relate to that. So yeah, they did. They spoke the same truth.
They're
It was just the
speaking
same
what
truth,
we're
just different
speaking.
culture.
They're speaking exactly what we've been talking about. Good food, good mind,
Yep,
good
yep,
spirits, no wars, just eat
yep,
healthy and
yep.
respect everyone. It's not that
And
fucking
respect
hard.
everyone and respect yourself,
Yeah.
right? And then this is the catcher. This is the real catcher that got me. And even today, I still think about it. And he looked at me and he said, "You know what makes them different from you and I?" And I said, "Not really sure, but what?" And I was only 19 when I was listening to what he told me. He said, "What makes them different from you and I is that they believed in themselves and they believed in everything they spoke beyond a doubt. And they weren't afraid to
Mm.
speak their truth and to be honest. They had an authenticity of being themselves." So I looked at him and I said, "So basically we're all the same. I mean, we're all Christ, we're all Buddhas, we're all." And he looked at me and he goes, this is all he said to me. I'll never forget it. "If you want to be like Buddha, be Buddha. If you want to be like Christ, be Christ. Whatever you want to be, start being it."
But
And that's
what about all
he
this?
said to me.
You
There
know,
should have
the
been millions. There should have been millions of Buddhas. There should have been hundreds of thousands of Christs all over the place. What happened? What happened to Mahatma Gandhis? What happened to all the Martin Luther Kings and all the great revolutionists? What happened to them?
killed them.
They were all killed, or they were all never told to the public, like Nikola Tesla, because what they found out was something very important, is that they're in a system like the Matrix, and the Matrix can never allow you to have that kind of power. If you've got the power like Christ or Buddha or whatever, they will never let you go online. Trust me, you will not be online. Why? Because if you can influence 1 million people, they need to kill you very, very quickly, especially if you're not with them.
Well,
And that's why,
you saw what China
what's that?
did to the Falun Gong people. They just tortured
Of
them
course,
and killed them because they
kill them and
happy
get
with
their organs.
meditation.
Yep, it's really sad. I know all about them. And I actually joined them in Melbourne. I've spoken to some of the Chinese. It's very, very sad. But what are you going to do with 1 billion people? And what are you going to do with the Chinese government, which doesn't listen anyway? What do you do? So you got to stop judging. That's what I've learned. Stop judging and start taking care of yourself, because see, you are more powerful if you can master yourself,
Mm.
because then people will follow. This is my goal. I want to unite. That's why I call myself a mystic, like Sadhguru and all of us. We want to unite with our divinity within us and with our God that lives and breathes everyone. And then, and only then, can we speak.
Mm.
But before then, you can't do it, because as long as you believe that you need money, and as long as you think that you need a house over your head and you need all these things, you are not going to be free, because that's how they hold you. As you can see, they're holding you. They're holding your neck. They're holding you by your balls, because see, you're stuck in one place and you can't move because all your life you've worked for it and now you can't even sell it.
Mm.
And if the market crashes, which it is going to crash, because BlackRock, Wall Street, when the dollar goes down, it's going to be the biggest crash in living history of money. And all properties that have a value of 1.5 million and 600,000, 700,000, you know what they're going to go down to? $20,000. Have a nice life.
Mm.
Why? That's why you have inflation now, where even Australians and no one can live. So it's a good idea that you're trying to sell now and get rid of it now, because if you don't, everyone is holding on to them. Just watch what's going to happen. You're going to say to me in a few years' time, fucking hell, you predicted everything. Because I say to a lot of people, I really don't believe I come from here, because I believe that there was a place, there was some sort of a realm or some sort of an existence I had in my past where there was no such thing as money. Everyone lived in peace. Everyone did what they needed to do, and everyone was happy and contented, respected each other and respected themselves. That's all there is. That's all it really is.
Maybe things will change, brother. Maybe if we keep pushing what we're talking about and people,
But
people
as long as
agree.
people have the cell phone and as long as people listen to the internet, it will never happen.
If they
The
listen to the
internet and the
doctors as
cell phone,
well.
yep. And think about CERN, okay? See, no one realizes that CERN is controlled by the elites, and no one realized that CERN is not just controlled by the elites, but it's run by the military. And CERN is a porthole, and CERN is where internet was created. So tell me, what chance does the human race have? None.
All right, bro. We're about to run out. So
Yo.
let's finish it here. We'll do part 3 another time. It's always
Oh yeah, sure.
always a pleasure.
Listen, I will send you those notes, and I'll send you my book so you can hand them out, give them all to everyone you want. Tell them that, it's all going to come out soon, and tell them that, we're going to have, if you want, we do it every week. I don't care. I'm glad.
All right, brother.
You know?
So till next
May the
time.
force be with you.
Yes.